In this episode, we will explore how to design a series of assessments for a course, including how they are weighted in the calculation of the final grade of that course. First, you should recognize that there is no right or wrong way to design your series of assessments, but it is important that your series makes sense and aligns to the purpose of the course, including what is suitable for your learners. The best place to start is to list the learning assessments that you have designed for your course so far. You should have most of them designed at this point, even if you haven't fully developed the assessment guides yet. Next, sequence the assessments into a series that is aligned to the outline of the modules of your course. Typically, you would have one assessment for each module, but you can assess 2 or more modules with one assessment. So between 3 and 5 is a good number of assessments to have in a course. After you have your assessments lined up in a series, consider the relative weighting of value to be contributed to the final grade for each assessment. You may want to consider the following factors. 1. The size of the portion of the course each assessment will be focusing on. 2. The amount of time it will take your learners to complete each assessment. 3. If the weighting is too low, some learners may elect to skip doing the assessment. 4. If the weighting is too high, will learners that do poorly on that assessment be able to recover? One principle to keep in mind here is that it is not reasonable to expect learners to be able to successfully complete a significant assessment on the first attempt. Continuing with the list of factors. 5. Is the assessment the final assessment, and should it have the highest weighting? 6. Are there any regulations that you need to follow that will limit your choices? And finally, what would be a reasonable weighting for that assessment? At this point, you should be determining just how you will calculate the final grades and what the passing grade will be for the course. This needs to be documented and communicated to the learners at the start of the course. There are various acceptable ways to calculate the final grades and what the passing grade will be, but you will want to check if there's any policies that you need to be following. One final check that you should do at this point is to have some other experienced course designers review your series and weightings and consider making improvements based on their feedback. In summary, the 6 principles that you should remember and be able to employ from this presentation are: 1. The series of assessments in a course and how they contribute to the calculation of the final grade and passing mark should be in alignment with the purpose of the course. 2. The final grade awarded at the end of the course is compiled from the total of credit awarded from all of the assessments in that course. 3. The pass level of a final grade, as well as how the final grade will be calculated, should be determined and clearly communicated to the learners at the beginning of the course. 4. Too many assessments in a course will be tedious and allows learners to accumulate enough credit to pass a course without successfully learning the key learning outcomes. 5. Too few assessments in a course will contribute significant stress to the learners to complete the high-stakes assessments and enable the learners to procrastinate their preparations for those assessments. And finally, it is not reasonable to expect learners to be able to successfully complete a significant assessment on the first attempt.